Are we alone? It's the ultimate question. Right, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. You guys send in a ton of sources all about the search for extraterrestrial life.
And honestly, it's a question that's been bugging people forever.
Like literally for centuries. But with all this new research and discoveries, it feels like we're getting closer than ever to an answer.
Absolutely. And your sources cover some really cool angles. Some are super optimistic, some are a little more cautious, but they all make you think.
Okay, so to kick things off, where do we even begin with a question this massive?
Well, one of the most famous starting points is something called the Drake equation.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's like a mathematical formula, right?
Right. It's basically an attempt to calculate the odds of finding another civilization out there, and it breaks down all the factors that would need to line up for that to happen.
I remember reading somewhere that the Drake equation was actually created by a guy named Frank Drake back in like the 1960s.
Yep, that's him. He was a radio astronomer, and he was super into the idea of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence. So he came up with this equation as a way to kind of organize all the different pieces of the puzzle.
So it's not like a definitive answer, but it gives us a framework to think about it.
Exactly. And one of the biggest factors in the Drake equation is the rate of star formation.
Right, because like no stars, no planets, no aliens.
Makes sense, right. And luckily for us, the universe is a pretty busy place when it comes to making stars. You sent in an article that talked about new discoveries in star formation.
Oh, yeah, that one was awesome.
Yeah.
They were saying how stars are being born all the time, like way more than we used to think.
And that's huge because every new star means the potential for more planets forming around it. And on some of those planets, conditions might be just right for life.
And that leads us to another biggie, habitable zones.
Yes. The Goldilocks zones.
Not too hot, not too cold, just right for liquid water.
Exactly. Which is what we consider essential for life as we know it.
And it's crazy how many exoplanets we're finding in these habitable zones now.
It really is mind-blowing. I mean, even just a few decades ago, we didn't know for sure if there were any planets outside our solar system, and now we're finding them everywhere.
It's like every time I check the news, there's another announcement about a new exoplanet being discovered.
And some of them are pretty darn interesting. You know, like that article you sent about the TRAPPIST-1 system.
Oh yeah, with the 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting that one star.
It's a really unique system because those planets are all tidally locked, which means one side is always facing the star, and the other side is always facing away.
Kind of like our moon. So one side is super hot and the other side is super cold.
Right. And it makes you wonder how life could possibly adapt to such extreme conditions.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It definitely makes the possibilities for alien life even more diverse than we could have imagined.
It totally does. But it also brings up one of the biggest mysteries in all of this, the Fermi Paradox.
Okay, so we've got all these potential planets, some inhabitable zones, a universe teeming with stars. So where is everybody?
Right, that's the paradox. If there's so much potential for life out there, why haven't we made contact yet? Why haven't we seen any evidence?
Yeah, it's a real head-scratcher. It makes you question everything.
There are so many theories out there trying to explain the Fermi Paradox, and some of them are pretty wild.
One that really stuck with me was the Great Filter Theory.
Yes. The idea that maybe there's some kind of obstacle that all civilizations hit at some point that prevents them from reaching a certain level of technological advancement.
Like a wall they just can't climb over.
Exactly, and it makes you wonder what that filter could be.
Maybe it's something technological, like a limit to how much energy we can harness. Or maybe it's something social, like our tendency to self-destruct.
Yeah, your research highlighted that article on self-destructing civilizations, which was a fascinating read. It talked about how our technological progress might actually be our downfall.
Right, like we develop all these amazing technologies, but then we don't know how to control them, and we end up destroying ourselves.
And it ties into that other source you included about climate change and how unsustainable practices can lead to the collapse of entire societies.
It makes you wonder if maybe every civilization reaches a point where they have to choose between progress and sustainability.
And maybe most of them choose wrong.
Which is a pretty sobering thought.
Yeah.
But honestly, it makes you appreciate the importance of finding solutions here on Earth.
Absolutely. We have a responsibility to learn from the mistakes of potential past civilizations and make sure we don't go down the same path.
But hey, let's not get too doom and gloom here. There's still so much to be optimistic about. I mean, think about all those extremophiles we're finding here on Earth.
Oh yeah, those little guys are amazing. They thrive in the harshest environments imaginable, like volcanic vents and frozen glaciers.
It's like life finds a way no matter what.
Exactly. And it shows us that life can exist in conditions we once thought were impossible, which expands the possibilities for what might be out there in the universe.
And then there's the discovery of organic molecules, those building blocks of life literally floating around in interstellar space.
It's like the ingredients for life are just scattered throughout the universe.
And don't forget about all the evidence for water on Mars and those icy moons in our own solar system.
Oh, yeah, that article about the potential for subsurface oceans on Europa was mind-blowing. Imagine what could be swimming around down there.
It's incredible to think about. Okay, so we've talked about the possibilities, the challenges, the tantalizing hints, but the big question remains, what are the actual odds of finding life beyond Earth?
Well, as you saw in your research, the estimates are all over the place. Some say it's practically guaranteed, while others give it like a 1% chance.
So a pretty wide range.
Yeah.
But even if we take the most pessimistic view, a 1% chance is still a chance.
And when you consider the vastness of the universe, even a tiny percentage represents a huge number of potential civilizations.
It's like winning the lottery. Even if the odds are slim, someone's got to win right.
Exactly. And the pace of discovery is constantly accelerating, so who knows what we'll find in the next decade or even the next few years.
New telescopes, new missions, new technologies. It feels like we're on the verge of some major breakthroughs.
I think so too, and that's what makes this such an exciting field to be in. Every new discovery brings us one step closer to answering the age-old question.
So after diving into all of this, I got to say I'm feeling pretty hopeful. How about you? Where do you fall on the spectrum of belief?
You know, for me, it's not so much about arriving at a definitive answer. It's more about the journey, the constant exploration, and the way that searching for life beyond Earth changes how we view ourselves and our place in the cosmos. Even if we never make contact, just the possibility of it existing out there, that's a powerful shift in perspective, and that's what keeps me fascinated by this whole thing.
I totally get that. And hey, even if we're alone in the universe, just look at how incredible and diverse life is on our own planet. We've got everything from tiny bacteria to giant whales. It's mind-blowing.
It really is. And it makes you wonder if maybe the real treasure is appreciating the life we already have right here and now.
That's a great point. But hey, a part of me will always keep looking up at the stars and wondering what else is out there.
As you should. The sense of wonder is what drives us to explore and discover, and who knows what amazing things we'll find along the way.
So to everyone listening, keep that sense of wonder alive. Keep asking questions, keep searching, and keep your eyes on the stars because the universe is full of mysteries just waiting to be uncovered.
And maybe, just maybe, one of those mysteries will lead us to the answer we've been seeking all along. Are we alone? Only time will tell.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep exploring.
Keep wondering.